I got a job. I got a job. I got a job within 1 month, literally exactly 1 month of moving to the United States. I moved to America from the UK in February 2025 this year, and I got a job in March 2025. But that's not the full picture. No. Because the reality is that I've been applying for 6 months. Yes, 6 months of job applications for me to land this job. And not just any job, I have to say, this is a dream job, and I'm really, really happy. I'm really, really happy to be at this company. But let's get into it. The good, the bad, and the lessons that I've learned, because boy, oh boy, has it been the toughest job market I've ever experienced, ever. So let's get started. First of all, if you haven't been following my story, which why would you? You're a stranger and I'm a stranger on the internet. Anyway, I moved from the UK to the US just willy-nilly. Well, when I say willy-nilly, not really willy-nilly, willy-nilly. Anyway, I had been thinking about it for 3 years, or 3.5 years, and I eventually made the move this year. When I moved, I had no jobs, no apartment, nothing. I had faith, and that's about it. I had a plan-ish. I had a concept of a plan, and just this deep belief in myself. I just knew that something was bound to happen if I just kept trying. And I don't want to encourage everybody to do the same thing, because it could have gone sideways for me. Let's just say that. It could have gone sideways. But let me tell you the full story so you have a better concept. September 2024, I visited Arlington, Virginia, and I liked it. I liked it enough that I started considering moving here, right? And then in October, I finally decided I was going to do this. So from October, November, December, January, February, March, I was applying for jobs left, right, and center. I was applying, getting rejected at ridiculous levels. I was receiving rejection after literally every single day. I would wake up to rejection emails. It was so discouraging. It was so deflating. And not gonna lie, I got scared. I got scared because I started putting this plan in motion to move. I had quit my job in November, I believe. I had a 3-month notice. I had started planning to move. I told everybody I was going to move, saying goodbye to my friends. People were telling me, I let people get in my head. I'm not gonna lie, I was scared because people were saying, why don't you just get a job first before you move, yada, yada, yada. But anyway, long story short, it wasn't easy. Not that I thought it was going to be easy, because I'd already heard about the job market. All this news and crazy, scary articles, videos, everything everywhere telling you, don't quit your job. It's horrible out there. And experiencing it was a totally different thing. Because back in 2023, when I was applying for jobs, I had 3-4 job offers within maybe 6 weeks. I am not even kidding. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just trying to explain the difference between 2023 and 2024/2025 of me applying for jobs and getting rejections every day. Now, I don't actually know how many job applications I've done, but I can tell you for a fact it was a lot. Now, since we started with the bad, I'm going to continue with the bad before we get to the good, right? Recruiters sliding in your DMs, telling you they have opportunities for you and then ghosting. Recruiters setting up calls and then not showing up or showing up late. I went through all of it. I went through a lot with these recruiters. The recruiters pissed me off. And in a way, it's understandable, because right now it's the employer's market. It's not the employee's market, it's the employer's market. So I kind of get it, because the recruiter doesn't really care about you. They're trying to fill a quota, right? They have a target to meet. If they're presenting an opportunity to you, just know they're presenting it to 20 other people. But it was still really disappointing, because you get excited when you get a message in your LinkedIn, right? Or an email telling you, oh, there's this opportunity we think you'd be good for. Do you have time for an interview? Like a first recruiter, screening call. and then only for them to ghost you, or that you actually prepare for the call and they don't show up. I went through all of that. So if you're going through that, it's not just you, okay? It's not just you. Anyway, at the risk of making this video sound too depressing, let's go on to the good. The good. Wow. This process has taught me so much. First of all, you need AI. You need AI. The good is AI. Right now, AI is your best friend. If you're one of those people that, say, oh, I don't really understand. No, I had to get ChatGPT Premium. I had to pay for it because when you're talking to ChatGPT, wait, it's right here. So let me actually show you in case you don't even know this feature exists. I have the app on my phone, ChatGPT as an app. Some people don't know that. They think it's just the web browser feature. No, you can download the app and this is what you get, right? And you can talk to it. If you don't know that, that's something else you've just learned today. So some things you can tell ChatGPT is there's a project manager job that I'm looking to apply for, but I have zero project management experience. I actually have experience in sales and marketing, but it's a tough job market right now and I'm looking to move and transition to a new role. What can I do to help me achieve this? And then you give ChatGPT time to give you an answer. You can actually, I'm going to show you the other feature that you can use, but this is the written one. If you want to read it, if you want a written response, this is what you can do. If you don't want to read it, you can also click on the read aloud feature, which I'm going to do.
Totally get where you're coming from. Shifting into project management from sales and marketing is possible, even without direct PM experience. The key is to reframe your background and start building credibility for the role. Here's a step-by-step guide to help. 1. Translate your experience. Many sales and marketing responsibilities overlap with project management. Problem solving.
You get the gist. ChatGPT is your best friend. Let ChatGPT be your best friend in this period of job hunting. ChatGPT was my best friend in this period of job hunting because it got to a point where I had to expand my job search, right? I have a background in operational risk and controls, but I had to expand my search to compliance, internal audit. I even applied for some business analytics and people, what's it called again? Customer success type roles, complaints handling. I did it all, okay? I expanded my search as large as I could, right? And in this process, I used ChatGPT from planning the entire job search process to actually tailoring my CV to all the jobs that I was applying to getting support, guidance, even in terms of the encouragement. You can ask ChatGPT to encourage you. Why don't people know this? It's like a therapist right in your hands. Let me show you another example. What advice would you give to someone who has been struggling with job applications? They have tried and tried and tried. It's just such a hard time right now with job hunting.
Yeah, job hunting can be super tough, especially in a competitive market. If someone's struggling, I'd suggest a few things. First, focus on tailoring each application. It can be time consuming, but it makes a huge difference. Highlight relevant skills and...
What did I just say? I didn't even know it was going to say tailor applications, but that is my next advice, the good with ChatGPT. You can use ChatGPT to tailor your current applications. Copy and paste your application into ChatGPT, or you can attach it. You can put it into ChatGPT as a PDF attachment, a Word attachment, and ChatGPT will read your CV and rephrase it to be tailored to whatever job you're looking to transition into. And this isn't even just for transitioning, right? If it's a job you already have experience in, copy the job description from whatever job posting, Indeed, LinkedIn, wherever you've seen the job posted, right? Copy the job description, the basic skills, preferred skills, the context of the job. Put it in ChatGPT, attach your CV, tell ChatGPT to highlight where this job matches your skills and experience in your CV, and then produce a revised CV that is tailored to the job. And I know you're thinking, oh, that's so long. Bruh, this job market is not a joke. It's not friendly. It's not it's not smiles out there, okay? It's not fun and games. It's tough. And a lot of people are doing this already. So if you want to stand out in any way, especially when these systems use the ATS, the application tracking system, I believe is what it's called, where you just scan your CV through, the recruiters don't even see it. Okay, before the recruiters see it, there's keywords in your CV that the system, either finds or doesn't find. And if it doesn't find those keywords, boom, rejected, right? It's why you can get a rejection email within like an hour of sending an application. No one saw it besides the robot in the system. So that's the good. You can really use ChatGPT for words of encouragement, for like strategy, for revising your CV, for helping you think of like possible roles that you can expand to depending on your job experience. Because I asked it, what can I possibly do with all this experience that I've got? Another good thing, which this will take a lot of rephrasing, I tell you, this will take a lot of like mental rephrasing, is the fact that every step, I know it's tough to think about it like that, but every single step in this process, all the, revising your applications, all the phone interviews with the recruiters, all the hiring manager interviews, everything you're doing right now is accumulating. It's accumulating, it's going to accumulate. What's that word? It's going to accumulate and literally take you to that place where you get the job. I know. It's tough to think about that way, but every single thing you're doing right now, every stress, every step you're taking, every effort you're making, it will accumulate into you getting the job. It's more experience. The more recruiter calls I did, the less I had to prepare for another recruiter call. The more hiring manager interviews I did, the less I had to prepare for another hiring manager interview, especially when you have a job and you're looking for another job. You don't have all the time in the world to prepare. And I have to say that helped me get this job because I had the time in the world. I had quit. I had already moved here when I interviewed between February and March. But I actually did my first recruiter screening call back in the UK, and I was still working at the time. So back then when I would, and the reason why I was able to do that without feeling overly stressed is because I'd already done 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7, God knows how many recruiter calls I had done back in the UK. So by the time I, actually got to speak to the recruiter for this role, I had a ton of experience already speaking to recruiters. I knew what to say. I knew what to not say, and it didn't take as much preparation. So you're setting the groundwork right now. Every step you're taking, every effort you're making is going to really kind of set you up for the next thing. Even if you don't get this one, it's going to set you up for the next thing, and you're going to require less and less and less effort. That's just the way it works. But it takes a lot of reframing to think about it that way because, boy, honestly, I'm not going to lie. If I didn't get the job that I have now, I know how discouraged I would be. Because let me tell you the process to get this job. I should have said that actually at the beginning. So you know that it's not easy out here. I know that this is not applicable to every single company, but this company was quite tough to get into. You do the job application. If they like your CV, the recruiter will give you a call. The recruiter gave me a call. I spoke to the recruiter for about an hour. And then there was actually a follow-up call. This is so interesting. There was a follow-up call with the recruiter because the recruiter said she had to convince the hiring manager to actually interview me. Can you imagine? Because my CV did not kind of show enough ownership. My CV did not show enough that I could perform at the level that I was applying to. I was applying for a senior role and my CV did not reflect that. So guess what I had to do? I had to revise my CV to reflect that. I had to revise my CV using ChatGPT to include words that showed that I can take responsibility. I can take a decent amount of responsibility, that I can work independently. I can manage a small team. I can basically meet the level that they want me to be, right? And I had to revise my CV as quickly as possible, resend it to the recruiter. Thankfully, the hiring manager was like, yep, looks better. Okay, I think, we could see her. But that wasn't all. I didn't even meet the hiring manager at that time. Then I was referred to an online assessment that took me over 2 hours to do. I did a 2-hour online assessment. Thankfully, I passed that. And then I got to meet the hiring manager. By that time, I'd already moved here. Just to tell you the time frame, I'd already moved here. The first week of me moving here. I was still in a hotel when I took my first hiring manager interview with this company. And then after the hiring manager interview, thankfully I passed that and I got to the final round. That was 5 interviews. You guys, the final round was 5 interviews. Yes, you heard that right. I met 5 different people, and it was an hour long. So it was a 5-hour long interview. Over 2 days. Thankfully I got to split it over 2 days, but I tell you that to say it was not an easy process at all. I started off the video saying I got a job within a month, just for some excitement and some clickbait, but yeah, it sounded like it just miraculously happened, but it didn't. But at the end of the day, it's all the work I'd been doing in the past 6 months. Well, I wasn't interviewing for 6 months, that's a lie. I didn't really get any interviews till this year, actually. So I did a lot of recruiter calls in 2024, but I didn't actually start getting to meet hiring managers until literally January. So yeah, I think actually I met one hiring manager last year in December, but she wasn't even the manager for the role I was interviewing for. She was just she just liked my CV, and it was like, oh, I'm going to pass you on to the other hiring manager, and then anyway, it is a long time coming, but I would really say ChatGPT or any other AI service you're familiar with, Copilot, DeepSeek. DeepSeek is really good for deep reasoning, not to sound redundant with the deep, but it really thinks. If you want, if you need help with logical thinking, I think DeepSeek is pretty good. If you don't know what that is, it's the Chinese alternative to ChatGPT. And I actually really like it. I go to it for an alternative perspective. It actually kind of looks almost identical to ChatGPT. It's called DeepSeek and it's really good. Another piece of advice I would give is to use this AI extension to your browser. It's called Simplify. Not sponsored, but it's really good. So you know how you go to apply for a job and you have to fill in your details so many times, even though it's already in your CV? It's so frustrating. And Simplify would reduce the time it takes you to apply for jobs because it would automatically fill out your details for you. It works better with certain applications like Workday. It works really good with Workday. But essentially, you would pre-populate your details into this Simplify sort of software browser extension thing, so that when you go to apply for a job, you just click one button. Boom. I'll see if I can attach a tutorial. But yeah, essentially you click the button and it would literally auto-populate your details. It saves you so much time. It saves you so much time because that's one of the frustrating things with applying for a job. That's why so many people use the easy apply option on LinkedIn. But I'm sure you've heard, it barely works. You barely get a response from those easy apply ones because guess what? It's easy for a reason. A ton of people are going to apply. Ooh, and that also takes me to another advice. When you see a job that says, 100 applicants have applied, I've clicked on this, don't believe it. Do not let that discourage you because I saw this in a video and it made me feel better about it. But getting this job that I have now, it kind of enlightened me even more because this job, like I said, wasn't easy to get. But besides that, when I found this job on LinkedIn, it was posted in January and I applied in January. And by the time I applied, I think it had over 100 applications already and it was posted fairly recently. But I didn't let that discourage me because guess what? Half of the people applying are not even qualified. They're just rage applying because, they need a job, okay? It's hard out here in the streets. They need to pay bills. So don't look at the number of applicants that had clicked on the application. LinkedIn gives you that data, but don't take it that seriously. Do not let that bother you because again, half of those people would not even make it through the screening system. Okay, half of them will not make it to the recruiter. The other half will not make it to the hiring manager call. The other half will not make it to the second stage. So don't let that discourage you at all. The fact that I clicked on a job that says over 100 applicants and I got the job, this wasn't a job opening for 3, 4, 5, 6 roles. It was just one. It was the one and I got it, okay? Quick flex. But again, don't let it discourage you at all. And leading off of that, I think you should also apply for jobs as soon as it comes out. As soon as you can, but try and do it within a week of the job posting. because it kind of sounds intuitive, right? If you can get in front of the hiring manager as quick as possible before someone else does, you're more likely to get the job. Someone else may have been in the interview process right behind me, but I happened to impress, the hiring managers and the other people I interviewed with and got the job. Maybe there was a just as much someone is qualified behind me in the interview process, but I got there first. Okay, I got there first, and that's what I want you to do. Get there first, get to the hiring manager first, and to do that you need to apply first. Okay, set up like notifications, set up whatever you can to make sure that you're applying within, if not the same day, within a week. You have to treat this like a second job. It's not easy, and I really want to kind of reiterate that it's not easy at all, and I'm living proof of that. And actually, let me also I need to acknowledge my privilege. Okay, because one thing I don't like is when people say things. There's a video. I don't even know. I'm not going to say this because I don't want to get in trouble. Essentially, when people say things like, oh, if I can do it, anyone can do it, without acknowledging their privilege and what set them up for success, right? So I have to say this. My CV is decent. Like my professional background is decent. I have experience from good, reputable companies, okay? And I really truly believe that sets a certain precedence. That sets a certain level of trust, especially when you're speaking to recruiters, because they're the ones initially looking at your CV, and they're the ones going, okay, I want to present you to the hiring manager. So I feel like that really helped me, because one of the things the recruiter said to me is, your CV looked interesting. So I have to say, like, your CV is important. And I have to acknowledge that privilege of having, thankfully, like a good professional background that kind of set me up for success. So I have to acknowledge that. But that being said, I really do feel like there's hope, regardless of how impressive your educational or professional background is. If you can make it sound impressive, that is the gist of it. That is the key to success. And, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Copilot, Gemini, they're all there to help you out, to make your CV sound impressive, to make your CV kind of like, get your foot in the door, essentially. And kind of like moving on from, oh, look at me with the American twang, kind of like, whoa, whoa, I shouldn't let this American influence me so quickly. But anyway, moving on from the kind of like resume thing. Let's say you've got the resume through, you get interviews left, right, center. ChatGPT is also there. AI is also there to help you with your preparation. When I tell you how much, I'm actually so grateful. When they say in those videos that's like, oh, do we have it easier than the previous generations? Of course we don't. But the only thing that I think we have better is accessibility. We have access to resources. So I use ChatGPT as a personal assistant. And I tell you, I had to pay for the premium version, because it kept stopping me from talking to it. If you talk to ChatGPT enough, it would be like, enough for today, or like come back within 3 to 4 hours when it refreshes, right? I was like, nah, I need you right now, and you're going to answer me right now. So I pay for the premium. If you can pay for the premium, pay for premium on LinkedIn as well, because I really believe it helped visibility. It helped recruiters get in my DM. None of them actually worked out in terms of getting me a job. Every interview I actually got, where I got to meet the hiring manager, where I got to the point of meeting the hiring manager, not just the recruiters, I actually applied myself. Cold application. I didn't have referrals, nothing. I don't have any referral advice. I know it's worked out for some people, but not me. It was all cold applications. And some like recruiters reaching out to me. But the ones that reach out to me on LinkedIn or Indeed, it didn't really work out with them. But I have to say, I still had a lot of visibility from paying for premium for about 2 months. When it really started to heat up, like in the new year, I strategically planned it for January 2025, because I knew that budget will start getting like allocated to stuff and all that. Anyway, where was I? Yes. So using ChatGPT for interviewing, I use ChatGPT to help me plan my interview like questions. I would ask it, right? So this is the job description. Give me potential. Because the people interviewing you are also using ChatGPT to some extent. So maybe not ChatGPT, but some form of like AI assistant, right? So, for instance, if your job description says ability to lead a team, use ChatGPT. What kind of questions will they ask me in this interview to test my ability to lead a team? I was literally talking to ChatGPT, telling ChatGPT like the questions, my behavioral questions. You know those tell me about a time when question. Give me an example of like the STAR method to answer the interview questions. I really practiced that, and I would write it down like bullet points and stuff. I would read it out to ChatGPT on my phone. I would literally talk to ChatGPT on my phone, and I would ask it to make me sound smarter. I'd be like, respond to me, make me sound smarter, summarize it, make it concise, not more than 4 to 5 minutes. Boy, I went into detail. And if you want me to make another video to essentially like talk more about how to use ChatGPT, I can do that. ChatGPT right now is like my buddy. It's like my best friend. I use ChatGPT pretty much every day for the littlest, silliest things. But there's a way to use ChatGPT. There's a way to use AI, like to get the most out of it. You have to phrase it the right way. You have to really give it enough information for you to get the best information out of it. But you can literally use it for anything. Interview preparation, questions, sample questions that you could be asked. Some of the questions ChatGPT told me came out in my interview. One of them almost verbatim. So yeah, I tell you that. So yeah, don't forget to use ChatGPT for your interview questions as well. What else? Ooh, I have to say, before I end this video, salary negotiations. I wouldn't say I regret not negotiating, because I did negotiate, but I regret not pushing a little bit harder. I always negotiate. That's like out of the table. I always negotiate. Negotiated my last job, negotiated this job, but there wasn't much wiggle room. But I feel like I could have pushed harder. And that's just something I want to say before I end this video, is that I know it's tough right now, and you just really want a job. You just want to hear, yes, you got this job, which was where I was back then, when the stress and anxiety almost literally blew my head off. But what happened was I didn't give enough time to think about salary negotiations. It all came so quickly. It all happened so quickly from the time I got the call that I got the job to when I was told about the salary, the offer, and I didn't have enough time to research salary. And that's my advice, right? Of course, spend 99% of your time trying to prepare for this job interview, but also remember that there's a possibility of you getting this job. So simultaneously spend 1 to 2% of your time preparing to negotiate your salary, preparing and researching your worth in the job market, right? Not your self-worth. That's not tied to money or a job. But I mean like your professional worth in the job market, how much you should be paid. I believe that my pay is fair, but life is not about fair, okay? I know there are people doing less and earning more. And that was where I found it hard to like not beat myself up, because I feel like my pay is fair for my age, my location, it's good money. But I know I could have got more. I know I could have got more. That's my personality. I still beat myself up about it, not pushing a little bit harder, not having more tangible data to negotiate my salary. And like I said, I did negotiate because I wasn't budging, but I feel like if I had spent more time preparing for the negotiation as I did preparing for the interviews, I would have had more like negotiating power. I would have had more wiggle room, but I was just so overwhelmed by the whole interview process that when I got the job, I was just so relieved that I didn't even, it didn't really dawn on me that I should have spent time also preparing for a negotiation in case I got the job. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna That's where I'm going to end this video. Be positive. As hard as it seems, you're going to get a job. As long as you're persistent, use AI where you can. Ask friends and family for encouragement when you need it. Ask ChatGPT for encouragement when you need it. You're almost there. You're almost there. Trust me. It was like that. It was like that when I actually got the job. It felt kind of surreal because all this effort, all this time you spent, and then boom, just like that. Just like that. So it happened for me, and I know it would happen for you. Comment down below when it actually happens for you. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want me to make more videos about how I use ChatGPT for like interview related stuff, then let me know. My name is Angie. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you again in my next video.